Alrighty, well, here we go, starting our first batch. First of all, I want you to see that this is the mother, and I've been feeding it, and it's pretty active, and it's doubled, or more than doubled now. And if you look closely, let's see, you can see that the structure inside is a little bit fallen. So you can see there's lots of nice big bubbles inside. And as it was growing, it was domed on the top. But now it's started to fall a little bit. So that means that it's ready. It's the best time to use a starter or a Levain is when it is just after the peak rise. So see that it's kind of flattened out, and we're about ready to mix up our first Levain. So the Levain is a 1 to 3 to 3, so that means that it's 1 part starter, and we need our bread flour. This is my whole wheat flour for the mother. We'll use that in just a minute. So 1 to 3 to 3. So what that means is for the first batch, my required amount of Levain, the amount that I'm going to weigh out and put into the sourdough, is going to be 800 grams. So that's 400 grams of flour and 400 grams of water. And to get that proper ratio, 1 to 3 to 3, I'd take 400 and divide it by 3, and that leaves me with 133.3 grams of mother that I need to get out. So let's see, hopefully you can see the scale here. Lighting is not the best. Let me turn on kitchen. So as you can see, I have an empty, clean container on the scale. I'll turn it on, and that automatically gives me a scale or a tare, so it will put it to 0 no matter what's on it. So you can see that the container is about 16, 17 grams. So then I will take out 133 grams of starter here of the mother. And it's nice and healthy with whole wheat flour. It smells pretty good. Kind of yeasty. All right, 90. 135.1. Okay, so that's pretty close. Take a little bit back. $133. Let's see. Fork. See if we can get it right on the money here. $134.3. Okay, that's 133.8. Just a smidge more. Okay. I think that's as good as we're going to get for this one. So, well, it'll be okay, because I'll talk to you about it in just a second. All right, so we've got 133.7. So then we, before we do that, I I just want to double check and see how much of this do we have left over. So it's got about 82.9 grams left, and that is going to probably be too much for my next batch if I just do the feeding at 1 to 5 to 5. So I'll need to scale that in just a minute. So this is 83. We'll write that down. Just use a whiteboard back here. 83. 83 G for. Okay. So then you will put that to the side. We'll worry about that later. So here we've got our 134 grams, give or take. And we're going to add flour and water and mix it up. Up until now, you've been feeding the mother with whole wheat flour. This is where we switch to the the bread flour. Okay, so put it behind here so you can see the scale. And up just a little bit down here so I have some room, but you can still see the number. So I just happen to have these buckets, but don't worry about needing to buy so many buckets. All right, storing it in the bag is just going to be fine. All right, so we need 400 grams of bread flour. If I can find my scoop. All right, just get a big spoon. So we go ahead and zero the scale. Start adding the flour. Okay, we got 300 grams. 50, 8. Very gentle and careful. Oh, okay, 400. All right, so it looks like this container might be too small because we need to have it double in size in order for it to be ready to use. Luckily, my wife keeps me well stocked in kitchen apparel. So once we get the water in, we'll switch it to a larger container. Okay, so now we need to add the water. And this is going to be room temperature or a little bit warmer than that water. Okay. Got my instant read thermometer and a nice big cup. My glass measuring cups kind of dribble if I pour slowly, so I need to get something that pours a little bit better. So start with a little hot water and a little cold water. Or if you just keep your gallon of water um, in at just on the counter should be just fine. Okay, so 95. Ooh, that's a little bit too hot. Okay. So we're not really we're just being conscientious about the water, or I mean about the Levain. We're making the assumption so that we don't have to record too much. We're making the assumption that it's going to be what it's going to be at its peak when we use it in the bread, and it's going to be made according to the specs. But we don't have to record our ambient temperature or things like that. All right, so a little ice in there, give it a stir. Sorry about it being so complicated. I think it'll be easier if you're just using your gallon, your 2-gallon bottle or whatever you get from the store of spring water. All right, we're at 87. Stir. Sure it's all even. And it's okay that the timer or the scale timed out. It's still kind of warm. In fact, I might switch to the new container for the water. Well, again, this is going to be, we're going to get better at the process as we do it more. But probably going to be perfect after I stir this up. Okay. 83 is pretty close to what I want. So what I'm going to do is weigh out the 400 grams, and then I'm going to pour some back into my cup. Slowly but surely. All right. If you want to get really, really specific, always use a syringe and get out what you don't need. Okay. All right, so I'm going to pour this one out. Put a little bit back in here. This is to rinse out the donating container. All right. So we get that all mixed in. I won't need to be this like this every single time, but there we have different. One of the factors that we're playing with is how much of the flour comes from the starter at the beginning of the the levain at the beginning of the um, process with the actual loaf. So we're trying to see if that will higher inoculation. That's the inoculation percentage. See if that helps or hurts the final loaf product once we're done with it. Okay. All stirred in. All right, and each run card has the specific amount of levain and dry flour and extra water that you need to add for each batch. And one thing to remember is what we're doing is not perfecting the sourdough recipe, at least not with our runs. We're going to let the data find that recipe for us. And what we're doing is going to be, what we're doing is we might have dud loaves, and that's going to be okay. You don't have to have a perfect loaf each time. That's the entire point of this experiment, is to find the levels that were, remember what the professor has said. Remember what the professor has said in class. You want to adjust the levels enough so that you see some stuff happen. And that's what we're doing here. So your loaf might be great, it might be bad, and that's okay. And that's what we're doing this for. Some of it, and that's what you have to kind of remind your taste testers and yourself each time that you make this, is we're adjusting how much hydration, how much water there is. We're adjusting the temperatures and not the temperatures, sorry. We're adjusting how the timing of everything and all of that, it should affect each loaf. And you might get, in your random assignment, you might get all the bummer loaves, and that's okay. We still need that data in order to find what is going to be the final thing, and then we'll make a prediction on what the final best ratios are, regardless of where you live, and that sort of stuff. So there you go. That's the levain for the next loaf, or the next batch. And keep this at room temperature and have your thermometer sit next to it, and we'll record the temperature. I'll have to relook at the run sheet to see which temperatures do we actually record. I think it's with the bulk. The bulk. All right, so the other thing to remember is that you can use whatever you don't need for the mother in whatever way you want. If you want to make pancakes or biscuits or something like that, you can do it, and it's no problem. But you want to keep the mother and the levain separate. If there's extra levain, and there will be, when there's extra levain, you don't put it back. Don't put it back into the mother. Just keep that separate. Use it or get rid of it however you want. All right, so now once we've gotten the Levain, we have the mother here, and we need to refeed the mother for the next time, and then we'll put her in the refrigerator. So I'll be right back, and with the printouts, and so I can tell which one is going to be how much do I need for next time. Okay, I found my sheets, and this is my run sheet. This is run 1, and then the next one is run 4. Next one after that's run 5, 10, run 13, and run 15. So if you look, you can see that each one has a slightly different settings. And so I've assigned you all both different runs, and I used a random number generator in Excel to do that. So all right, so let's take a look here. We've got this batch is going to have 68% hydration. The inoculation is going to be 20%. So that means that 20% of the total flour is going to come from the Levain. And 20% of the total water is also going to come from the Levain. And then the rest of it, so whatever percentage of water is there will be, anyway, I'm getting in the weeds. So we just need to know that I need 800 grams of Levain when I start baking. So this is the Levain, and if we turn this on and we weigh it, we'll be able to see, even with the heavy container that it's in, that it's way more than 1,092 grams in there, and I won't use all of that. I only need 800 grams of it. So you'll have plenty to make pancakes or waffles or whatever you want. So here we've got just use this empty one to tear, and so here we've got 80 grams. I don't know if that's exactly what we had before, but it's rough, and I'll be weighing into that. So my next batch is going to be run number 4, and we can see, okay, Levain total is going to be 400. So I'll need to take 200 and divide it by 3. And if I was actually good at math, I might be able to tell you what that was. But anyway, so you need to estimate how much of the starter or of the mother you'll need for the next time. And it's not going to be, let's see, 200. You're not going to need 480 grams of mother to go here. So what we'll do is we will reverse engineer this. So 400 divided by 3 is 133.3. So we'll want to end up with enough that we can start, refeed the mother, and it will be good for my next run, which will be the 800 grams of Levain. All right, so what I recommend doing is this is a 1 to 5 to 5. So 1 part of the mother to 5 parts water and 5 parts whole wheat flour. So what I did with this one, and it seemed to work out pretty well, was I did 20 grams of the 20 grams of the mother in here in an empty container. So we'll zero that out and we'll do 20 grams in there. And that was way too much. And that's about good. So you don't need super duper exact, but you know, a couple grams here or there, higher or lower, is okay. So we'll put away our bread flour if I can find the lid. There it is. I really do like these twisty lids, but sometimes it's hard to find where the threads start. And so I looked and I marked them here and here so that I could know quickly and easily where to start it. All right, so we've got 22. And to keep the ratios right, we will go ahead and just multiply this by 5. So 23 by 5 is going to be, let me get my watch calculator out. All right. 22.9 times 5 is 114.5. Okay. So we'll get our water. My cup go. There it is. On the ground. This time, well, over here. We'll measure it again. Do the water first. Oops. This one's 94. .6. Perfect. So 114.5 grams of water. Ooh. Perfect. All right. This is the nice, healthy whole wheat flour. Okay, 106. Ooh. That's close enough. All right, and then we're gonna mix it up. I expect that your run cards will get quite messy by the end. That's also okay, just so long as you get the data into the spreadsheet. All right. So now your mother can go into refrigerator until you need it. It will grow a little bit slowly. That's okay. And then that's about 155, so that'll be plenty for my next batch and to start the mother over again for the following batch. So this can go in the fridge, and we'll cover, get rid of our flour. And then cover this up. Hopefully it won't spill over. If you don't think your container is quite big enough, then you might want to put it in a tray wherever you are storing it. Okay, so that's what I've got for you.